Hello, I'm Dale. Welcome to my backyard. I've got my Coleman pool set up. It's filling with water right now. Next, we're gonna set up the pump and filter. Here's the pump, filter, and tubing, everything we need to set it up. You'll notice on the back side of your pool, there are 2 ports labeled B and 1 port labeled A. First thing we're gonna do is grab these 2 screens, and on the inside of the ports labeled B, we're gonna just simply push them in place. Next, we're going to take the 2 smaller tubes and they slide over the top of each of the port Bs. Once you have both of those in place, you can take a little clamp and put it on each one to hold the tubing in place. Next, we're going to take this T connector, make sure that it has an O-ring on each side, and then this rubber grommet right on in there. And that T connector hooks both of the tube Bs together, and I like to get this O-ring right into that groove. Make sure it doesn't get kinked up on you, kind of twisted in place, it'll settle in there. Then I like to put a clamp right over the top of where the O-ring goes. I find that I get the best leak prevention by having the clamp right on top of that O-ring. Next, I'm going to take the shorter of the larger tubes and we're going to hook that right into the T, making sure that that rubber grommet is there. And the other end of it hooks onto port B of the filter, making sure there's a rubber grommet there as well. Okay, next we're going to take these parts for port A. We'll put the rubber gasket over the return port here, and then that slips over the hole for port A. And then this ring goes on to secure it. And next we're going to take this valve, making sure that we have one of those rubber gaskets. I keep calling them grommets, whatever. Make sure you got one of those on there, and it's going to attach just like that. Then the last hose, the longest and biggest, is going to attach to port A down there, making sure we got one of those rubber gaskets there. And we got our rubber O-ring on the bottom of that, and it's going to attach up like that. Now this valve right here, it has a lock and unlock position. So that way is locked. This way is unlocked. I'm going to keep it in the unlocked position. You really don't need to lock it unless you're disassembling something or taking the hose apart. So keep it unlocked because you have to have it unlocked to filter. If you run it locked with the filter running, you're going to run into trouble. Now the only parts that are left over are a couple plugs to plug the holes if you need to take the tubing off the pool for some reason. And then this right here is just a drain that hooks onto the drain port on the bottom of your pool that a hose can hook up to drain your pool. Now I need to let the pool finish filling. It needs to get up to the 2 outlet ports and the return port here so that we can properly burp all the air out of the filter and the pump. So I'm going to let it finish filling and then we'll get to that. All right, it's full of water. You want to keep the water level 2 to 8 inches from the very top, so it's full right now. I'm going to actually turn off this valve right now and disconnect this line on the filter because I want to show you the filter inside of here and I don't want to lose a ton of water. I don't want to bother plugging both B ports. So I'm going to unplug this right here. We're going to lose a little water. But when I unplug this and raise it up above the level of the pool, the water stops. That's just a little quicker, easier way for me to get access to this. Now with the water off, the water supply off, I can take the filter out here. This ring comes off, the top comes off, and here's your filter. And you're gonna need to rinse your filter pretty frequently, once a week or so, depending on usage. And these filters eventually do go bad. You're gonna need some spare filters. I have Amazon links in the video description below for spare filters, chlorine, pool shock, a brush, chemical floats, everything you're gonna need to get your pool up and running. So be sure to check out those links in the video description below. So I took this apart because I wanted to show you how to change the filter, and also when you're putting it back together, make sure that this O-ring is there and it's perfectly clean. There's no dirt or debris on it, and the bottom of the cap does not have any dirt on it at all. Any dirt is going to interfere with making a good seal there. Cap goes on, this tightens down, and you'll be set. All right, I hooked that hose back up to the filter there. Be sure to unlock this port. You cannot run the pump and filter with this port locked. You'll burn up your motor. So let's move on to priming the pump. To prime the pump and get all the air out, there's this little valve right here on top. Just unscrew this. You can hear the air coming out there, and just let a little bit of water dribble out. That's going to get all the air bubbles out. The tubing, most of the air should come out of that just on its own. That should be enough to get all the air out. Now we can plug it in and set the timer on the plug. There is 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10-hour run times. You press this set button right here to toggle between the different times, and it'll run whatever time limit you set. Every 24 hours, it'll run for that amount of time. I also recommend getting a solar cover for your pool. That's just a cover that lays on the surface of the water and really helps heat it up a lot quicker, up to 10 degrees warmer. I'll put an Amazon link in the video description below where you can get a solar cover as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video helped you out, and have a good day.